Curiosity could have gotten you killed. You weren't manipulating the space-time continuum. You were breaking it.
Hey, welcome back to Screen Crush. I'm Ryan Airy. Now, with Phase 5 chugging along, I want to talk about the real villain of the Multiverse Saga.
And I will burn them out of time.
Nope, not him. The real villain. Yes, Doctor Strange is the real villain of the Multiverse Saga.
Dumb ways to die.
Cool, you go first then. A lot of people messed with the multiverse in Phase 4. Kang destroyed timelines, Wanda dreamwalked, and Sylvie got the ball rolling. But no one caused more destruction than Doctor Strange. In Phase 4 alone, 3 Strange variants caused 4 incursions. That's more than everybody else combined. The Illuminati were right when they said,
the greatest danger to the multiverse, it turns out, is Doctor Strange.
But look, he's not just a Multiverse Saga villain. He has always been a problem down to his first movie. He has morals, but his intentions matter more than the outcomes.
She did what she thought was right.
The bill comes due.
I didn't mean for this to happen!
We were at war. While the rest of us banded together to try to stop Thanos, Stephen, as always, chose to go it alone.
Hey, you died.
Oh, no, it was an accident. Look, accident card. There it is.
Okay, fine. And Strange's arrogance is ultimately his own downfall, and the downfall of everybody else around him. So, let's look at how Doctor Strange is the biggest threat to the multiverse, and how he'll probably be the one who frees Kang.
Freeze Kang? But Kang is dead.
Nah, buddy, come on, Kang is still alive. There is no way the new Thanos was taken out by ants. So, let's start with Strange's first movie, Doctor Strange. Just a quick recap in case it's been a while since you've seen it. Doctor Strange is a renowned surgeon who loses partial control of his hands after a texting and driving accident. Desperate to heal his hands and return to his old life, he goes to Karmartage for help after traditional medicine fails him. Now, at first, the Ancient One doesn't want to teach him because he's so arrogant, but eventually, Wong gets her to come around. The villain of the movie is Caecilius and his zealots, all of whom were trained by the Ancient One, but now they are trying to get eternal life from an ancient entity called Dormammu who lives in the Dark Dimension. Now, the big reveal is that they actually got the idea from the Ancient One because she's been taking energy from the Dark Dimension for years. Caecilius murders the Ancient One, Dormammu is released upon Earth, and Doctor Strange is only able to best him by locking them both in a time loop. Now, eventually, Dormammu is frustrated and agrees to leave Earth if Doctor Strange frees him. Strange breaks the loop, Dormammu leaves it, everything goes back to normal, except for Mordor, who cannot accept or forgive the Ancient One. So, you would think that Doctor Strange would learn a lot from all this about how limits are necessary and actions have consequences, and mainly, some rules cannot be broken. But of course not. That's not who Doctor Strange is. From the first time we meet him, it's established that he is not a rule follower, and that's supposed to be okay because it works out for him.
You can't do it freehand.
I can and I will.
Now look, I'm not saying that it was wrong for him to save that guy's life, but it establishes a pattern of disregard for the rules. Then the next rule we see him break is texting and driving. Now it might seem trivial compared to some of the world-ending, reality-breaking stuff that we're going to get into, but texting and driving is very illegal in the state of New York, and for good reason. And look, as brutal as the wreck is, he's honestly lucky that he didn't hit someone else and end up in jail. This does bring him to his knees though, and eventually lands him at Karmartage, where he promptly breaks all of their rules.
Hey, I'm gonna play this accident card, so now you will die.
Aha, not so fast, because I have a nature card that counteracts that particular accident.
Hey, what are you guys playing?
Well, this is called Dumb Ways to Die. It's a card game where you have these 3 beans that you're trying to keep from dying in dumb ways, and they're the sponsor of this video. Uh-oh, Doug, look out, the Psycho's here with the Psycho attack.
Aw, geez, will you roll for me? Your boy's got no thumbs.
Sure thing. Look at that, you're dead and you lost a bean.
Well, what's the point of the game?
Well, it's straightforward fun and very easy to learn. Basically, you draw cards, try to avoid accidents, and then you try to keep these little beans alive longer than anyone else. The beans are even these moving hologram cards so you can see exactly how they meet their demise.
Oh, this is like the Dumb Ways to Die YouTube channel and hit song.
Yes, exactly, and there's that song.
Dumb Ways to Die.
Yep, that's right, Doug. This game is fast-paced, a lot of fun, and very easy to play, and I drew a death card, and now I am down to 1 bean because I cannot counteract that at all.
He's gonna die soon.
So to get your own Dumb Ways to Die card set, check out our links below. Now back to Doctor Strange. Now look, there is no doubt that Doctor Strange is brilliant, not just as a surgeon, but as a person. I mean, he got his MD and his PhD at the same time, won multiple surgical awards, and mastered the mystic arts incredibly quickly. But his arrogance makes him act stupid. And we We see that from the beginning of his training when he uses the Time Stone. Doctor Strange is explicitly told that he is not advanced enough to read the high text. And look, normally I would say that everyone should have access to all the knowledge they want, but when that knowledge could break time, maybe let's be more careful with that. Especially because, what motivates Strange to mess with the Time Stone? Selfishness. Strange tries to write an email to Christine, but deletes it after he realizes he'll never be able to fix what they had. And right after he deletes it, he immediately goes to the Time Stone, the one object that could undo everything that he has done. Now he knows he's not supposed to do it. He sneaks in and even double checks that Wong isn't there. And then he does the spell without even bothering to read it all first.
It's just doing exactly what it said in the book.
And what did the book say about the dangers of performing that ritual?
I don't know. I haven't gotten to that part.
Like I said earlier, Strange is a brilliant man, but this is objectively a dumb move. There is no way he thought this wasn't dangerous. He just thought that it wouldn't be dangerous for him. But it is. When he's doing the spell, there are these cracks that form around him as he reads about Dormammu.
Dormammu. The Dark Dimension.
Now it looks a lot like the mirror dimension, but it isn't. The mirror dimension is all-encompassing, but what Strange sees goes away as soon as he stops the spell. And if you look frame by frame, you can actually see different versions of himself in the cracked reflection in a way that is very similar to the Multiverse of Madness posters. So as far back as 2016, Doctor Strange was beginning to break the multiverse.
Temporal manipulations can create branches in time.
Well, wait, why does it break here and not when he uses it against Dormammu or when Thanos uses it?
Because those were Nexus events, kind of like how Loki could yell at the top of his lungs when the destruction of Pompeii was imminent. See, the Time Stone is fine to use when things are
Inevitable.
And moving on to Dormammu, the entire message of the first Doctor Strange is that people who break the rules get, well, the Ancient One drove Caecilius into the arms of Dormammu because she has stolen bits of eternal life from the Dark Dimension for years, and ultimately, that's why she's murdered. And Caecilius thinks that Dormammu's eternal life will be peaceful because the Ancient One has used the stone for so long. His punishment for calling Dormammu to Earth is eternal torture. So by the time Strange fights Dormammu, he has to break the rules because it's gotten so out of hand that it's become a fight fire with fire situation. But you would think that after dying dozens of times in a time loop, he would be careful about breaking any space-time rules in the future. But that's not the case. Also, why is Mordo treated as such an extremist? The world nearly ended because people didn't follow the mystical laws.
Hey, didn't he take away that guy's ability to walk?
Okay, yes, he took away the guy's sorcery so he couldn't walk anymore. But again, let me redirect you to the giant floating demon head in the sky from just days earlier. And by the way, everyone, I want to thank each and every one of you for watching us and supporting our channel and helping to make Screen Crush a success. We recently launched our very own merch store where me and the team designed the shirts ourselves, and we have a lot of fun ones we're proud of. There's the creepy Miss Minutes pinup, the variant hoodie with our logo, all the variant suspects featuring history's most offending time travelers, Doug as Loki, mug, and shirt, and many more. Shopping our merch store is the best way for you to directly support what we do here at the channel, and I am deeply grateful to all of you for watching and subscribing. If you weren't here, I would be off flipping burgers somewhere right now instead of taking orders from a dog.
That's me, I'm the dog he's talking about.
Okay, so back to Strange. So that was the events of the first Doctor Strange movie, and we don't see him again until Infinity War. Now look, I'm not going to talk too much about Infinity War and Endgame because Strange actually does the right thing there. I mean, he handles everything afterwards terribly, but we'll get to that later. For now, let's talk about No Way Home.
There was an incident with Spider-Man.
What, man?
Now, let's start with the obvious. No Way Home doesn't happen if Strange isn't there. There are no multiversal intrusions, Aunt May doesn't die, and the whole world doesn't forget about Peter Parker if Strange doesn't perform that spell. The entire situation could have been avoided.
Yeah, but Peter asked him for help.
I know Peter went to him for help. I want to remind you that Peter is 17 years old. He is a kid who does not know anything about the multiverse or the risks of this spell. He just wanted to help his friends who were suffering. But Doctor Strange is one of the most powerful sorcerers in the world, and he knew the risks. Again, the entire plot of the first movie is that some people do sketchy magic and a demon from another dimension tries to take over the planet. He's very aware of what could go wrong here. And just in case he's forgotten all this, Wong is there to remind him.
That spell travels the dark borders between known and unknown reality. It's too dangerous.
His boss, Wong, tells him no. Now, admittedly, he does relent just a bit and says, leave me out of it, but you would think that the warning would be enough to at least let Strange know to be careful. Maybe he should even kick out the kid who is notorious for rambling while he casts his spell.
Gotta say, that's awesome.
I don't know if you've been in a fight before, but there's usually not this much talking.
All right, sorry, my bad.
Would you just stop talking?
So, to recap, the entirety of No Way Home doesn't happen if A, Strange considers the risks and doesn't perform the spell, B, listens to Wong and doesn't perform the spell, or C, at least performs the spell alone. Now, who's really at fault for the resulting incursion?
It's me.
No Way Home is the first incursion that we see, but it's definitely not going to be the last. And every incursion we've seen since then has been caused by none other than Doctor Strange. So let's talk about the Multiverse of Madness. Now, Multiverse of Madness is definitely the film where Strange behaves the most irresponsibly before we even get into his actions. So let's get the timeline straight. Trust me, all this matters. So in Far From Home, the student news video says that it's the last day of school.
Yeah, it's like the last day of school. We're good.
They also say that people were blipped back 8 months prior to that.
8 months ago, a band of brave heroes brought us back.
So, assuming the last day of school is in early June, like it is in New York, that means that Hulk's snap brought everybody back around October of 2023. WandaVision is set about 3 weeks after Endgame. Now we know because Monica comes back to her job 3 weeks after she's blipped back, and her first assignment is Westview.
It's been 3 weeks and you're the first to report.
And to make things really easy, let's assume that the Halloween episode of WandaVision was actually on Halloween. So that means that Endgame takes place early October 2023. WandaVision takes place late October of 2023. Far From Home takes place in June of 2024. And since Peter is a senior and we see Halloween decorations, it means No Way Home takes place in October 2024. Now we know that Multiverse of Madness occurs after No Way Home. And because Christine is getting married and spring weddings are common, let's just say the multiverse is around spring of 2025. That means that it has been a year and a half since Wanda created the Hex, and Strange has never talked to her about it.
I knew sooner or later you'd show up wanting to discuss what happened at Westview.
Now, I'm not saying he should have visited her because they were friends. In fact, I think they didn't even meet until the Battle of Earth. But since he is a powerful sorcerer, it seems like he would have wanted to talk to a newly discovered witch that created a pocket reality by accident. And honestly, it seems like he never even talked to her about the events of Endgame.
That's the kind of justification our enemies use.
Is it the one you used when you gave Thanos the Time Stone?
Killing Vision was the hardest thing she ever had to do, and it was worse because it was ultimately pointless.
I blew a hole through the head of the man I loved, and it meant nothing.
So when she realized that Thanos had the Time Stone, she didn't know how he got it because it happened on an entirely different planet. If she even knew that Strange had the Time Stone, she probably assumed that it was a big fight. When she was blipped back, she still had no idea. And if Strange never talked to her about it, that means that she had the joy of finding it out by herself. Again, they weren't friends, so I'm not saying it was his responsibility to comfort her, but it seems like something you would want to discuss. It's honestly not surprising that she resented him.
Do not speak to me of sacrifice, Stephen Strange.
And before anyone says that he was too busy or he didn't have time, he had the time to cause an incursion with Spider-Man. He could have found her, but he only goes to her when he needs something.
You know anyone who's faced such a thing?
I think I might.
And then he is surprised when she's angry with him. And as a caveat, I do want to say that while I think that Multiverse of Madness is overhated, it is not the best writing of Wanda.
They said, do you know what we're doing in WandaVision? Have you seen it? And no, they had not.
So I don't want to say that him talking to her would have changed everything, but God, at least it would have helped, right? Also, he never actually tells Wanda about incursions, and I don't think that she ever knew their full scope of destruction. She wants to be with her kids more than anything, but she's also terrified of losing them again.
In the infinite multiverse, there's a cure for every illness, a solution to every problem. I won't lose them again.
This is the woman who stopped her entire plan because she scared her children. So it's hard for me to believe that she would have been so reckless if she knew it might hurt them. And Strange had the chance to tell her all of this. After Wanda goes full rampage mode on Kamar-Taj, they have a long conversation where she explicitly states that all she wants is her kids and to live a happy life with them. Strange could have easily said, well, actually, I had a situation with Spider-Man recently where he tried to change something and it ended up nearly destroying the world. The same will happen if you try to go to your kids or bring them here. It will ultimately hurt them. And Wanda probably would have stopped before it was too late. But instead, he tries to guilt her and never explains any possible consequences.
What happens to their mother?
Or, do you know when else he could have told her this? Any time if he had actually visited her between WandaVision and Multiverse of Madness. It's fine. It's fine. You know what? I'm not mad about it. Strange's fault Wanda became a villain, but I'm not mad about it.
You seem mad about it.
It's fine. But that's just what he could have done beforehand. Now let's get into what Strange actually does. So we see 4 Stranges in this film. Our Strange, Defender Strange, Illuminati Strange, and Evil Strange. Of those 4 Stranges, 3 of them, 3 cause incursions. So let's start with Our Strange. Now Wanda and Strange are perfect foils in this movie, so structure-wise it makes sense that Strange dreamwalks, but it is so frustrating. The entire thought process of,
And I did what I had to do.
Is what landed them in this problem in the first place.
All you strangers, you're the same.
His justification for this is that he has to save America. And look, I'm not saying it was a bad thing that he saved her, but the potential price is so high. Especially with everything that Wanda did, there was a good chance that dreamwalking would be the final straw that caused an incursion for our Earth. But most importantly, Strange isn't the one who actually saves America. America saves herself. So his dreamwalk was entirely unnecessary. And then there's consequences. For dreamwalking into a dead body, Strange's consequences seem pretty low. Let's compare it to Wanda. When Wanda sees what she's done, she kills herself and destroys the Darkhold across every reality. Her consequence is her life. Doctor Strange, on the other hand, seems pretty hunky-dory at the end of everything. He gets a third eye as a sign of his own corruption, but emotionally, he's okay. He is setting out to find real happiness after everything that has unfolded. Even after he discovers that he caused an incursion and sets out with Clea, there's a little smile on his face. I mean, a universe was destroyed, a woman just died, but you're smiling, bro?
Stop smiling. Stop it. Stop it.
And this leads me to believe that Strange learned nothing from any of this. He is still going to break the rules and cause problems because ultimately he's not really the one paying the price. And that is why I think that he'll be the one who lets in Kang. But that's just our Strange. Now let's look at what all the other Stranges did. What If Strange is basically our Strange if our Strange had real consequences. It literally opens with the question,
what if the best of intentions has very strange consequences?
In What If, Strange is not alone in the car that day when he gets into the accident. Christine is with him, and instead of facing injuries of his own, he kills Christine. Instead of losing his hands, he loses his heart. Strange will do anything to fix it, but it's a nexus point that cannot be changed. So, instead of dealing with what he's done, he battles and consumes monsters until he has enough power to change the nexus point. And the Ancient One sees this coming, so she splits the timeline, because she does not follow the rules either, mind you. And then two versions of Strange get to fight. And as they're fighting, the good Strange says something really interesting.
This isn't love. This is arrogance. This is our need to fix everything. It's what drove us to study the mystic arts in the first place.
Now, What If posits our favorite characters in bizarre and outlandish situations, but the essence of the characters doesn't change. So this would be true of our Strange as well. His driving force has always been his own arrogance. The good Strange is eventually absorbed by evil Strange. Even he couldn't get through to himself. And guess what? The world, the universe, was destroyed. And as the world collapses around him, he says that he never meant for this to happen. Strange just always assumed that the consequences did not apply to him. And because of this, he destroys billions of people. But that's just one of the incursion-causing variants of Strange, and he's not even the worst. So let's talk about Illuminati Strange. 818 Strange is the clearest example of just how dangerous Doctor Strange is. I mean, there is a reason the Illuminati says that he is the biggest threat to the multiverse. Also, quick note, our Strange acts so surprised when they say this, as if he didn't nearly cause an incursion months before. 818 Strange takes his fatal flaw, arrogance, to a whole new level and tries to take on Thanos all by himself. So he dreamwalks and, surprise, surprise, incursion.
Everyone in that reality died.
So, for the second time, we see a Strange kill billions of people. And much like What If Strange, 818 Strange feels incredibly guilty when he realizes what he's done. Now, I'm not saying that Strange is a fundamentally bad person. What I am saying is that his arrogance, his belief that he can be the sole savior of the universe leads to destruction, and that all of the remorse in the world is not going to change that. And then there's the third eye Strange, the one truly evil Strange that we see. He's angry that there's no universe where he's actually happy. Despite all of his power and status, he's still empty and isolated. So he's taken to killing every Strange he finds.
You ever had that dream where you're falling as if you've been pushed off a tall building? That was probably me.
Now, we never find out exactly what caused the annihilation of his universe, whether it was dreamwalking or him killing other Stranges, but his actions have consequences far outside his own reality. By murdering other Stranges, he's causing incursions for their universes. When our Strange and 818 Christine are walking down the street, the world is completely folded in on itself, and it almost seems like the floating buildings repeat. And I think that's just because this isn't just two universes crashing into each other, but multiple crashing into each other repeatedly. That means that Third Eye Strange hasn't killed billions of people, but instead tens and tens of billions of people. So let's recount. Our Strange has caused 2 incursions. What If Strange caused 1, 818 Strange caused 1, and Third Eye Strange caused God knows how many. So from 4 Stranges, we've seen minimum 5 incursions, and I can almost guarantee he will be the one who lets Kang in, probably through, you guessed it, an incursion. So remember that scene in Infinity War that made everybody hate Peter Quill? We're going to have something similar with Doctor Strange. He's going to let his own arrogance get the best of him, and it's going to let Kang back in.
Wait, what do you mean let Kang back in?
Well, dude, Kang was sucked into his multiversal power core. He's not dead. He's trapped somewhere else, I guarantee you. Now, I can see Strange doing this in two ways. First, through an incursion that he's already caused. At the end of Multiverse of Madness, Clea rips open a fabric of reality to show Strange the incursion. Now, instead of the type of incursion we saw earlier, where it was clear that two Earths collided, this one is set somewhere that looks cosmic. Now, we still don't know where Kang the Conqueror went at the end of Ant-Man. And right after the movie came out, we theorized that he fell into somewhere even smaller than the quantum realm. So what if that is where this incursion takes place? And with both Clea and Strange jumping in to fix it, Kang the Conqueror has the perfect means to now get out and back into Earth 616. I could also see Strange trying to fix the Kang problem on his own, and ultimately making it worse, sort of like 818 Strange did with Thanos. Imagine that the Earth's heroes find out about Kang, but Strange says, well, this is an interdimensional problem and I'll handle it, instead of working with them. He goes to face Kang himself, but isn't strong enough on his own. When Kang bests him, he finds out the location of America, and boom, he can go anywhere in the multiverse that he wants.
Hey, person?
Yeah, buddy?
Accident card!
Oh, crap, and I don't have that nature card, so that is my last bean, and you win the game. Good game, high five. And just a reminder, everyone, to get your Dumb Ways to Die card game, check out the link in the comments below. So, what do you think? Is Doctor Strange the real villain? Are incursions even that bad? And special shout out to the writer of this video, Brianna McLarty. You can reach either of us at our socials listed below, and if it's your first time here, subscribe, smash that bell for alerts. For Screen Crush, I'm Ryan Airy.